Hi, my name is Tom and I'm a Reset volunteer. Today we're going to talk about classroom management and engagement. First we want to consider is preparing for a successful engagement in the classroom with the students. And that very much hinges upon the teacher. To meet with the teacher, to understand and establish things like the classroom routines, understanding the facilities, if they have projectors, where the outlets are, how long of a plug do you need, if there's any security thing you have to go through beforehand. Also to consider things such as discipline, when will the teacher intervene if there's a behavioral concern, and establishing the teacher's role in that process. Also you need to understand the constraints, how much time you have. Is the end a very hard deadline? Do they have to go to lunch? Or is there a little bit of wiggle room? And it also doesn't hurt to understand the teacher's background and hobbies to see if they can be integrated into your lessons. One volunteer talked about pixels and resolution. They found out that the teacher had a photography as a hobby, so the volunteer used the teacher's pictures and helped tie things together and keeps the teacher and everyone engaged. One thing that can be very helpful is to visit the classroom before your first session in order to acclimate yourself with the teacher's style, the environment, and the setup. So now it's your first time. Introduce yourself with a little bit of an icebreaker in your very first session. Naturally, you want to introduce yourself by your education, your background, and hobbies in a way that's relevant to the students. An icebreaker can be a simple question as which grade is your favorite, or what's the difference between a scientist and an engineer. One thing that can help is to provide name tags for the students so you can refer to them by name. When it comes to the experiment, naturally the whole point is that they get something out of it, that they're paying attention. So you want to give them the hook, something to start with, something that gets their attention, which usually is a provocative type of question or a challenging or visual graphic, something that piques their curiosity and gets them interested because the question you ask is going to be answered by the experiment that you're going to do. So maintaining attention is significant. One big way is to ask questions. And it certainly helps to think beforehand about some questions you wish to ask. Some of the important things to consider is the wait time. Don't provide an answer immediately or interrupt them and go somewhere else. Give them a moment to think about the question and provide a response. When they provide a response, it may not be necessarily the right answer. So you want to focus on the positive aspects of their answers. You don't just say that's wrong. You can say whether they're on the right track or point out the point that yes, that it's important. You did catch on to that fact, but there's more to it. And you can follow up with simpler or other intermediate questions to help lead them toward the answer that you're looking for. Another mechanical aspect that really helps is to circulate among the group. Don't just stay in the front. If you need them to quiet down, don't try to yell over them. You're not going to win that one. Usually talking quieter often gets their attention because they'll be quiet so they can listen. And what can be really helpful, and this is where you get for the teacher ahead of time, is to come up with a way that they do to quiet the students down. One last thing to consider is time management. One thing is to simply be on time. Being on time means getting there early enough to do all the preparation you need. One thing that helps is to keep an eye on the clock while you're providing your initial talk, while you're doing the experiments. When you practice the experiments ahead of time, have some pre-estimated milestones to check yourself along the way. So if you get to one part of the experiment, there should be a certain amount of time left, and if there isn't, then you can gauge the rest of the time appropriately. If you flat out run out of time, one consideration is to extend the session to the next week instead of trying to rush to complete it. Many questions are very helpful for good engagement, as we talked about, but they can eat up a lot of time. So one possibility to help streamline this process is that when you take questions, considering having each small group come up with 3 questions and then choose one to ask. And importantly and finally is to be sure to allow time for closure. It's that same adage where you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. I hope this video was helpful and for you to consider how to approach the classroom. Thank you for watching.